Hello everybody, this is Zephyr with your ASIware support team, and in this video we're going to go over how to change placement dates on a client who's been placed in your system, and we're going to go through all all programs, whether that's foster care, residential, or services. So the first program we're going to start with is foster care. As you can see, I'm on the client history submission page for Tina Harris here. So let's say we come down here and look at this placement and we see 3/20/2017. Well, actually this client was actually placed on 3/10/2017, and we need to update this date to reflect that change. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click the payment button here. Now when we click the payment button, it'll take us to the payment screen here, where you can see all the data about this placement and all the payment data that goes along with it. What you'll also see in this green section right here is an option that says placement date. So I'm going to update this to 3/10/2017. What I'll also see up here, we are not going to be paying that home starting on 3/20 if they were actually placed on 3/10, so we need to make sure the billing's reflected in this change as well. So we're going to change that start date to 3/10/2017. We'll look down here at the agency billing records and we'll see that this start date says 3/20, so we're going to update that one as well. And then finally, up here at the very top, you'll see the level of cares. So what we're going to do first, since we have to save the billing records separate of the level of cares, we're going to save these payment records. And then we're going to come up here and we're going to update this level of care as well to 3/10/2017 and click Update. So we can now close this window and refresh this screen. And now what you'll see is everything reflecting that 3/10 date that we wanted to change this placement to. You'll also see the level of care up here changing. So once we confirm that all this data looks correct on the placement screen, we have one more area we want to double check. We're going to click this placement information button, which will take you to the foster care placement page for this client. If we click to the right of the word placement in this blue area, we get our drop down menu. What we want to do is we want to come to case management, and what we're going to do, and I'm going to delete this first entry here, as you can see, I've already started this on 3/10, but normally what you'll see is 3/20/2017 here, because that was the placement date. What you want to do is you want to actually add the same agency here, and you're going to want to add it with the correct date. Once you've added it with the correct date, you can delete the other one. That way we have one record here, and this will reinitialize all the records that haven't been completed with that 3/10/2017 start date rather than the 3/20/17 start date. What that will also do is all your contact types will also be updated with that new start date. So, and let me click on contact types here. So if you're entering contact checks, it would update the dates for those, so you can enter any contacts when they actually started placed, and that would have been 3/10/2017. This case management agency doesn't have any contact types, so we don't see any here right now. And that will conclude how to update a placement date at a client level for foster care. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to move over to the residential client. As you can see here, I have a residential client for Roger Claymont with an intake and start date of 8/29/2013. For residential clients, we're going to click the placement information button, and we're going to actually click on the word placement here. When you click on placement, you'll get all the information about this placement. We're going to actually change the intake date to the correct date, and we'll say that this one was supposed to be 9/4/2013. We'll go ahead and scroll down to the bottom of the page and save that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to check the caseworker. We're going to update that to the correct date as well. Click Save. We'll go to Location. We'll update that. Next we'll go to School. Agency billing, just to make sure our billing is reflected in this change. Now keep in mind that you do, when you come to these pages, you will need to save these line by line. So we'll save this one first. We'll look down where it says level of care, and we'll make sure the level of care is started on the correct date, and click Save. Next, we're going to do the same thing that we did in foster care with the agency billing. We'll make sure that our agency matches what the correct one is, and we'll add a new one. Once it has been added, I can delete the old one. The contact types will automatically be restarted based on that date. And then everything else should be good unless there was room checks with the incorrect dates. So just go down through each item and make sure everything looks good on your end. And once you have verified that all the start dates are now correct based on the placement date, we can now close this. And we are done with a residential client and when updating their placement. So if I refresh this page, we should now see that change of 9/4 take place. The next program we're going to go over is a services client. What you'll see is home-based services for this client, and that is Bumblebee. We see a placement date of 6/14/2016. Well, that placement date should have been 6/20. So we're going to go to placement information here. Again, just like residential, we're going to click the word placement first. We'll see the start date of 6/14 here, and we'll change that to 6/20 and save that page. Next, we'll go down to caseworker. Then we'll go to agency billing. Again, making sure you're changing the appropriate billing here. As we see, the first one will be the one that we change. We'll save that line. Next, we want to look at the level of care. What we see is this one starting on 6/14 should have started on 6/20. And we'll save that. Just like all three programs, we're going to go to case management. We'll see services super agency. We'll make sure we have that same one selected and have the correct start date. We'll delete that old one. The contact types, we'll restart. We'll look at residents here. For this case, this is just a residence of that actual client, so we don't need to change anything there. Bed hold and referrals, everything looks good, so we can now close this. And this will conclude how to change placement dates in all three programs: foster care, residential, and services.